The room that should have stayed locked. It was the summer after my freshman year of college when I landed a part-time job as a night security guard at an old office building downtown. The building had been around since the early 1900s. Faded bricks and creaky floors whispered of a forgotten past. Most nights were uneventful, spent walking through dimly lit hallways and checking that doors were locked. But there was one door I was told to never open. Room 12B. It wasn't part of my regular rounds. In fact, the supervisor explicitly said, "Whatever you do, don't go near that room. Just ignore it." Naturally, that made me curious. The first few weeks passed without incident. I'd walk by room 12B occasionally, noting the heavy rusted lock and the faint peeling number on the door. It looked like any other room, but something about it felt off. The air around it always seemed colder, heavier. One night, around 3 a.m., as I made my usual rounds, I heard a faint knocking coming from inside room 12B. I froze. At first, I thought I was imagining it. I leaned closer, holding my breath. Knock, knock, knock. Soft, rhythmic, deliberate. I radioed the main office. No response. My heart raced. The building was supposed to be empty. Gathering what little courage I had, I called out, "Hello? Is someone in there?" Silence. Then a whisper. Faint, almost unintelligible, but definitely a voice. It sent chills down my spine. I fumbled with my flashlight, shining it around the door frame. But there was nothing, just that old, rusted lock. I should have walked away, but I didn't. Curiosity won. I reached for my keys, my hand trembling. The key slid into the lock with an unsettling ease. As I turned it, the door creaked open slightly, revealing only darkness beyond. I shone my flashlight inside. Empty. The room was small, with cracked walls and dusty floors. No furniture, no signs of life. Just darkness. And then, the door slammed shut behind me. I spun around, heart pounding. I grabbed the handle, it wouldn't budge. The lock clicked from the outside. I was trapped. Panic set in. I banged on the door, yelling for help, but the thick walls swallowed my voice. My flashlight flickered. That's when I heard it again, the whispering. But this time, it was inside the room. I wasn't alone. I turned slowly, my flashlight casting shaky beams across the walls. That's when I saw them handprints smeared on the walls, faint but unmistakable. They weren't there when I first walked in. The whispering grew louder, circling me, though I couldn't see anyone. My flashlight flickered again and then went out. Darkness. Complete, suffocating darkness. I fumbled with my phone, but it wouldn't turn on. My heart raced as the whispering grew into soft, guttural voices speaking in a language I didn't understand. I could feel something standing right behind me. I didn't look. I couldn't. Instead, I pounded on the door, screaming until my voice was raw. Then, suddenly, the door creaked open. I stumbled out, gasping for air, collapsing in the hallway. The lights flickered back to life. The building was silent again. The next morning, I quit. I never told anyone what happened. But sometimes, late at night, I still hear the faint sound of knocking, soft, rhythmic, deliberate. And I know it's coming from room 12B, the forgotten files. Weeks after quitting, I couldn't shake the memories. The whispers haunted my dreams, and that suffocating darkness crept into my waking thoughts. One evening, driven by an obsession I couldn't explain, I visited the old library downtown. Hidden in the dusty archives, I found blueprints of the office building. Room 12B wasn't listed. Instead, there was a blank space with faded notes scribbled around it. Sealed for safety. Do not reopen. Curiosity turned into fear, but I had to know more. Digging deeper, I discovered old newspaper articles. Decades ago, the building had been a psychiatric hospital. Patients reported hearing voices, seeing shadows. One article detailed a doctor who conducted experimental treatments in a hidden room 12B. The last entry in the hospital's logbook simply read, "Subject 17 contained." I didn't sleep that night. The final visit. Against every instinct, I returned to the building. The exterior was crumbling, abandoned now. But room 12B still stood, the door slightly ajar, as if it had been waiting for me. Armed with a flashlight and recorder, I stepped inside. The room felt colder, darker than before. The walls were covered in symbols I couldn't recognize, and in the corner, a small box sat untouched by time. I opened it. Inside was a tape recorder. Hesitant but unable to resist, I pressed play. A distorted voice filled the room. "If you're hearing this, it's already too late." The door slammed shut behind me again. But this time, I wasn't alone. The whispers grew louder, then turned into screams. I never left room 12B.